Anthony?
She does.
Or I'm just some creepy stalker who's just like, who's not all the time.
Oh, which is it?
Could be both. A little bit of both.
There are a lot of people that I know that speak English in here. I see Dimitri is here, and I see that Victor is here, and I also see that Chelsea's here. And who else do I know? Oh, I see John in Australia. Hi, John.
Видишь, что тоже здесь английский до ссылки Джеговского.
Is that Christina?
Anthony, I thought it would just be you and me side by side, but I see everybody.
Yeah, how do you make it where it's side by side? That would be more fun for me.
I don't know. Chelsea has to do it.
Not that I don't want to do what's beautiful faces, but maybe.
Okay, Christina, we're going to have to start.
It's not just about you and me anymore.
Oh my God.
Well, I guess that's involved.
Also, just FYI, guys, I have like a really some sort of something going on after the 7-day in Malaysia, and I will most likely have to leave myself to sneeze and blow my nose. So you'll have to excuse me. Okay. I'm looking at you, Chelsea.
I'm coming. Okay, guys, I think we're going to have to start. So let's start. Okay, so Teresa, you're recording and everything. Hey, babe? Okay, cool. Okay, thanks, you guys, for the extra time. Love you. Muting myself. Bye.
Yay, welcome.
What are we doing today?
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about to embody or not to embody. You know, it's, we came up with the name a little while ago because, we were both going to the beautiful city of Moscow to facilitate a body class. And so I decided to facilitate the Talk to the Editing class, and we'll be going there to do a 3-day body class. They're like, okay, well, what cause can we, create together that would create more for basically everyone involved? And so the funny part about the whole thing is, I've spent almost 30 years working on body. You spent your entire life, working with custody entities. And it's like we're both going to the same city around the same time. You're doing bodies and I'm doing entities, which I find very comical. The fact that I'm even doing custody entities and facilitating the amazing work that you created is quite comical in and of itself, but it changed my life dynamically in ways that I could have never even predicted. And I'm really, really grateful for it. Sort of empowered me in ways that are beyond any expected, and it's also helping me to look there and body worker. So thank you.
Have you never done that?
How did you do that?
Oh God, the how. Really, I'll tell you what, it showed up more when I would facilitate the classes, really. And it's like not having the point of view about like how many people would show up to a class or to a Zoom call that I would do, and just the willingness to even do it for one person. Being able to bounce the information off of another being opens up universes within inside my universe. And so it's like, I'll put together a class and not even have a point of view of how many people show up. I'm just grateful for whoever shows up and I can look at the information that you create. And
okay, so for everybody that's on Russian right now, I'm so sorry, everybody. We're having some trouble with our Russian translator being able to make it onto this line. We're trying absolutely everything we can, and we can't seem to. So everybody will be sent out the Russian translation as soon as the call is over. And then we'll get the recording along with Anthony and Shannon, and we'll just send it out post-translation. Thank you so much, everybody. Sorry for all the inconvenience. And please stick on here, and just in case if Christina is able to make it on, then she can jump on with us and start translating.
I think everybody needs to have these tools available to them, whether they see ghosts or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to come to talk to these classes without telling you.
When we're going
That
back.
was a while ago. I remember that class. That was a long time ago.
And talk about not to embody. I mean, she chose not to embody anymore. And this reality wasn't working for her, so she checked out. She left. And you know, and that's what's interesting, because I was going through the reference materials about when you embody. So I was reading about like what your dad was talking about, and it's like not just to have a body, but it's also to sort of take on this whole entire reality, he says in it. And it's like, and when we actually judge this reality, or we're not willing to receive this reality without a point of view, then what that does is it actually cuts off our awareness. And I'm like, whoa. And that gave me a lot of information as to perhaps when people choose to like commit suicide, for example, they're not willing to take on this whole entire reality.
I've met so many people that would rather not have a body. And I didn't really have much of a point of view about that until I got really more into probably like 10 years into Talk to the Entities, when I had dealt with so many entities, and I realized like, they're people too, they just don't have bodies. There are so many entities in the world with us, and just because they don't have, there's a huge prejudice against people without bodies. But when you do a Talk to Entities class, you start recognizing, number one, a level of awareness that so few people are willing to have.
Yeah.
And when you start cutting off your awareness to the spirit world, this weird phenomenon occurs where you actually start losing huge parts and pieces of your being. And no one talks about that, and no one teaches us that. So when I started saying yes to the spirit world and opening up to even admitting to myself that I was aware of ghosts, I got huge parts and pieces of myself back that I didn't even realize were missing. So that was the huge inspiration for Talk to the Entity, for me with Talk to the Entities. And I'm grateful that I took action on it, because it would have tried to come through somebody else if it couldn't come through me. And I think it's just so cool that people even want this stuff. And Anthony, I think it's so hysterical. I also often think how funny it is that you're a Talk to the Entities facilitator, not because you're not qualified and you don't have even the ability, but you're one of the most straight-laced, in my mind, you're one of the more straight-laced people I've ever met. You're very like, I'm going to say something that might sound insulting, but we also have to just acknowledge who we are, like very middle America, but you're completely not that in your universe.
Yeah. Yeah. Your dad always says, he's like, you're like a superhero in disguise. He's like, you're like Clark Kent. He's like, and he makes fun of me a lot. He's like, you know, when are you going to actually sort of like be on the outside what's actually going on the inside? And so, and that's something that I've been actually working on and, you know, working through and around to like not just be this mild-mannered, middle, you know, American looking guy on the outside, where there's this whole entire universe that's percolating like all the time. And, you know, and that's happening. That's actually showing up, because I'm getting weirder and weirder and weirder. I may not look weirder, but I am getting weirder. I'm being louder even about my weirdness, because it's like having this like internal volcano of potency, but you have nowhere to go with it. And it hasn't really been until Access Consciousness and over the last 7 years that it's sort of almost like giving me permission to sort of be all of me. And again, talk about embodiment and having to take on this reality. I mean, this reality made me wrong. I mean, you know, going through school, like I was always put in like the special needs classrooms, right? So that they're telling me
Were you?
Oh yeah,
so
totally.
Was I. I was in special education all my life.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that was me. So it looked normal on the outside, but at the inside, it's like I'm fighting against this reality my whole entire life. And it's like, oh my God, but it never got to the point where I ever wanted to take my life, but I fought against this reality for so long. And it really hasn't been until Access where it's like my ADD, my ADHD, my autism, where it's like I could actually use it to change people's lives. And it's just, it's beyond miraculous for me.
Is this your second Talk to the Entities class in Russia?
Yes, actually, it is, which is funny. This is funny. The whole thing is funny. And it's like, you know, and this is, you know, you talked about, I was doing your mental disorders call yesterday. And, you know, you talk about being the source of a different possibility. And it's like, and when you're willing to embody this reality, and not have any judgments of you, then you're willing to receive everything. And it's at that point you can actually be the source of a different possibility. It's like, look at access consciousness as a whole and talk to the entities. It's like, it's not of this reality, right? But you're able to sort of function and thrive in this reality, not be at the effect of it, because you're willing to be a source of a different possibility. And I think that's the invitation with the tools of access consciousness. And that's what I'm really so grateful. And that's what it's sort of been pulling out of me. And for people who are on the call that have known me even way before I started access consciousness, they've seen the change.
Hello, everybody. Anybody
because I fought really hard to be normal.
I'm so sorry. Our
when in actuality,
translator
I was never normal.
technical difficulties trying to get on here, and so she's going to be sending out the Russian to everybody post-translation. So she will send all of you guys. We'll make sure that you guys all get the Russian recording for this within 24 hours. I'm so sorry. Unless Christine is here right now, then we will just have to send this out to everybody. So we only have a few people on with us live right now. My apologies, you guys. I'm so sorry that we weren't able to pull this together for you. And we'll make sure that we send this out to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much.
I remember my bones started vibrating during the session. They were humming like a tuning fork. And during that time, this frequency was created, and I literally felt ghosts leaving my body. I felt entities leaving my body one after the other, and I was literally like, holy shit, what is going on? And this is before I even met you. This is before I even took a Talk to the Entities class. And the funny thing is, by the time I took a Talk to the Entities class, I just wanted you to talk to my dead wife.
Did I?
Right? The first one. Did you? You did a little bit. You're like, she talks a lot, doesn't she? And I'm like, yeah, she was a talker. And my kids were there. My daughter was only like maybe 4.
Yep.
Both my sons were probably like 9 and 11, and they sat in the front row and they loved the class. They couldn't wait to go back. And I'm like, nah, that class is not for me. I just wanted you to be like a psychic, you know what I mean? I wasn't really there for the tools. And it wasn't until like 3 or 4 years later when I started asking questions about what would it take for my sessions to become more powerful, what would it take for my facilitation and my foundation class to get stronger. It was like, boom, I saw that you were doing another taster. And I'm like, I've already done this before. So I texted your dad and I'm like, I don't really have a capacity in this area, but I'm getting that I need to study this work, like hardcore. And he goes, is that true? He's like, when did you cut off your awareness to entities? And then I remembered a time when I was 4 and 5 years old, when I would sleep next to my grandmother and I would perceive all these energies around us because I was scared. I was scared to go to bed at night alone because I could perceive these energies and I would just try to hide under the blanket. And oh my God, this is so awesome. And so that energy matched the energy that I became aware of when I went to Rome just recently to facilitate my first Talk to the Entities class. And I swear it was the most challenging. I thought I was going to like have an anxiety and panic attack, and I never had that before facilitating an entities class in any country. But for whatever reason, Rome, Italy brought that up for me. And my family's from Italy. My mother is an Italian refugee and my grandmother. And so in doing that class, the energy that I was aware of when I was 4 or 5 years old, it lifted. It left because it was like an oppressive energy. And I even texted your dad about it. And I'm like, did I destroy and uncreate like generational curses and suppression and oppression of the D. Gaetano family? And he goes, well, what do you know? And I'm like, yeah, because it's not there. It's gone. He's like, awesome. He's like, nice work. He's like, are you becoming more aware? And I'm like, fuck yeah. But the awareness was showing up as what this reality would say, a panic attack. And I knew it wasn't a panic attack. I knew it was just awareness. But the interesting part is I never had that before facilitating the Talk to the Entities class. So I know I'm going off on different tangents and stuff, but there's just so much magic in all of this. And it was like to think that I didn't think I had a capacity in this area. It's like, wow. And if you're one of those people, please, like, just because you don't see ghosts, it doesn't mean anything, because Shannon talks about it's better to perceive, know, be, and receive them in that world and universe. And it really does create a lot of change.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what else?
So like the part that obviously you've had these gifts since you were a wee child, right? But you didn't use the tools right away. You didn't really start using the tools until later in life, right? Is that correct?
The tools didn't come until I started trying to figure out how to not be crazy. And that's where access was I was really lucky to have access in Gary, because I basically would be dead if it wasn't for access in Gary. As a lot of people suffer from killing themselves because they're too aware, and this reality doesn't support awareness. So the tools came from me trying to actually work out what was going on when I was with ghosts, and then finally, like some point down the road, like it took about 8 to 9 years for faculty entities to fully develop into the beginning class that did. And now we basically have
we can just cut it out. Are you using your own?
They're too aware, and this reality.
Are you using your own?
So yeah, I'm using.
The tools came from me trying to.
Yes.
Everything that you really need for dealing with ghosts.
So is this recording, and I can start translating?
You go ahead, honey. You start
That's
translating.
okay?
Give her. Yep, go ahead.
Okay, that's cool. Всем здравствуйте, извините за задержку. И теперь у нас есть мануал, в котором написана информация по сущностям. И у вас есть этот мануал, и там написано все о том, что вам нужно делать с сущностями, но на самом деле все гораздо больше информации. В этом мире очень много нужно практиковаться. И сейчас мы будем учить вас о том, как общаться с ними, как их чистить. И для меня это все очень практично. Все начинается с осознанности. И подарок, которым мир духов может быть для нас, он все скрывается из-за того, что мы неосознанны. Разговор с призраками — это естественно. И представьте, каким бы другим был мир, если бы мы не сопротивлялись миру духов и поняли, что те, у кого нет тел, они такие же осознанные и такие же крутые или ужасные, как и мы, как и люди с телами. И я жил в этом мире, хотя я понимаю, что многие не живут в мире. И умение разговаривать с сущностями — это невероятный дар. И я очень большой энтузиаст. Это же круто получать. И, если честно, я не изобретала их. Они просто пришли ко мне. Когда вы начинаете использовать инструменты и все эти знания, которые вы получаете на классах, вы учитесь получать от сущностей. It's like all of a sudden there's just like this glittering world of possibility and bliss when before it's like you thought it was this here the whole time. Yes, there's so much there. В этом мире, в разговоре с сущностями, есть очень много чего, чего стоит узнать. Я помню, когда я первый свой класс с сущностями, и у меня не было пререквизита. И вы знаете, что? Я пошел в дом, когда я начал работать с сущностями, я отправился в один дом, и там я почувствовал сущности, начал чувствовать их. И я начал получать информацию. У меня не было никакого понятия, я просто хотел поиграть. Но информация в этом доме, стены и потолок, это все давало мне информацию. И я думал, ого, Я реально тот человек, который может увидеть привидения? Да, именно так. С этими инструментами вы можете одним из тех людей, кто начинает общаться с сущностями. Потому что осознанность — это то, что есть у всех нас, поэтому все это могут. Поэтому давайте общаться с сущностями. Я очень благодарна, что те люди, которые пойдут на класс Энтони, получат многое, и как может быть еще лучше. Можно я задам вопрос? Когда-нибудь ли вас была мысль воплотиться? Когда-нибудь у тебя была такая мысль? А что ты имеешь в виду? Не просто воплотиться, где ты получаешь тело, но вот именно про получение. Расскажите побольше об этом. В этой реальности очень много люди в этом мире очень думают о том, что невозможно. А вместо того, что возможно. Животные, планета, Вселенная. Возможности. И у них нет чувства того, что чего-то не может быть. А в стороне людей я не могу, невозможно. И все эти точки зрения здесь.
Intensity and the density and the force of this reality. And at some point, just after doing a lot of access, I just no longer patient. I always wanted to. There's this weird. Those of you guys that do a lot of access or will do a lot of access.
Все те, кто занимается аксессом, вы помните этот разговор, когда вы говорите, смотрите. Какие ограничения вы вкладываете, сдерживаете, которые ограничивают вас? Которые не дают вам раскрыться. Я думаю, что воплощение — это очень сложно. Я не совсем... Мне сложно объяснить на том уровне, что вы это поняли. Вопрос: ты живешь? Есть ли радость в том, чтобы быть живым и получать барьеров? И эти стены и барьеры, которых есть стольких людей, которые требуются людям. На какой была бы планета, если бы мы их не выбрали? И каким пространством вы можете быть? Что не позволяет стать уничтожить. И кто вы со своим телом, кем вы являетесь? Прошло некоторое время, пока я стала реально собой. Я занималась аксессом довольно много. А аксесс заставляет вас чувствовать себя лучше, у вас увеличивается осознанность, и поднимается много вещей. Это такое путешествие. Становиться осознанной. Да. И это выбор. Быть осознанным на этой планете — это очень крутой выбор. А какие еще есть альтернативы? И вы знаете, у меня не было идеи, когда я в первый раз акцесс, и я так страдал. Прошли годы, когда я понял, что было что-то еще, что есть что-то еще, что возможно, о чем я не подозревал раньше. Не то чтобы там была магия за пределами этой темы. И это энергия, которую нам доступна, мы можем играть с ними. Я подумал, о боже, это то, что возможно. И я начал плакать, потому что мне было грустно. И это были... Мне было грустно, это были слезы благодарности. Я подумала, о Господи. И когда мы работали вместе, помню, я подбежал к Дэйну и сказал, о боже, спасибо за то, что помогли преодолеть мою тупость. Я подумал, во, и целый мир. Да, и природа не видит этой глупости. Природа в полное позволение. Это спасибо, она говорит спасибо вам. Спасибо вам за эту осознанность, которая у вас появилась. Да. Что доступно для нас, о чем вы не подозревали. Почему я вас приглашаю? Это погрузиться глубже в осознанность. И что-то по-русски визу. Я буду в России. В первые выходные июня. Я приезжаю, да. Это круто. Это как будто... Может быть, если мне там будет моя сестра? Ну ладно, что же потребуется? Россия, впусти меня. И я буду в России в первые выходные июня. Это очень интересная энергия для создания класса. И что доступно, что вы никогда себе не позволяли себе выбрать. И что, если вы позволите себе быть тем, кто видит возможность? И да, круто. Спасибо. Так, несколько вопросов я посмотрю в чате.
Leslie, did you want to unmute yourself and ask the question, or I can read it out loud here as well? I was asking. She says she has a lot of questions. She read a lot of access, etc., but it hasn't helped her.
Она занималась аксессом, но это не помогало ей преодолеть боль.
On the contrary, knowing that her awareness
напротив, осознание, что она осознанно, не становилась от этого грустно. И почему же я так чувствую? А кому это принадлежит? Да, становись более осознанной. Вот что я сказала, ты, Энтони. Это ваше суждение о том, что ваша осознанность создает больше поля. Может быть, вы создали физическую солидификацию. Вы используете свою осознанность на вас, или она работает против вас? И что же есть в вашем теле, что запирает осознанность? И только после класса разговора с сущностями, когда начала общаться с сущностями, эти инструменты, разговор с сущностями, они поднимут вопрос, кому-то принадлежит, на гораздо более высокий
you're aware of. Otherwise, it'll stick you, and not in a good way.
I concur.
Cool. It's so nervous to do a call with you, you know, because like you're Shannon, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, what's Shannon say?
You have to realize though that I feel like a 14-year-old teenager, and I have no idea why this is such a big deal, but I am super weird, and I am also completely different. And so I'm grateful. I mean, thanks, Anthony. I'm always like surprised and pleased to hear you say it. Yeah, there's a lot of questions coming in, and yeah, I mean,
can I go on? Oh, hi, Sasha from Slovenia. I have a question. I have a 3.5-year-old son, and since his birth, he's expressing a lot of violence. He can suddenly grab someone on his face, or also grab someone for his neck, like wanting to strangle. And I was asking for the past half a year for each occurrence, who does this belong to? He replies to his grandmother, who is still alive, but it didn't change. So this, he's still performing this. So I thought that this is maybe the space to share and ask.
What are you asking?
What's going on?
What do you do with a violent 3-year-old?
What is this his awareness of something, or is just natural?
He might be an asshole.
Me?
He.
Ah, wow. Wow.
There's always that possibility.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
Does it make you feel lighter?
No.
No? Are you sure?
No, it's not lighter. It's not lighter.
I have a very unorthodox way of raising children, and most people, most parents in this reality would probably say the way I'm doing it is wrong, but I'll call my kids assholes if they're being assholes. And when my daughter was 4 years old, or when I first started Access, she wouldn't even let me run her bars. She would literally like run away. And actually, it was one time when she had a stomach virus and she was so lethargic, she didn't have the energy to fight me. So I kind of used it as an opportunity to run her bar. And I was still pretty much new to Access. And I'll never forget, biomimetic mimicry came out. And so I started to run her bars with biomimetic mimicry. And I didn't know you weren't really supposed to do that. I didn't know any better. And this was, again, before I met Shannon for the first time. And to make a long story short, as I was running this process about where she's creating and invoking like her mother's insanities, my insanities, like I went through all the family members, because mental illness was really, really strong on her mother's side of the family. So here I am being this paranoid father trying to, you know, encapsulate mental illness from, you know, showing up in my children's life. I'm running this process. And so it sounded like an exorcism was taking place. Literally, and I kept asking, her name is Aria, and I'm like, while I'm doing the process, I'm like, where's Aria? And she was literally going, I don't know, like that. I'm like, oh my God. And the boys came up, both my sons are like, Dad, the front door's open, would you like us to close it? Because we can hear what's going on from like down the street. And it sounded like I was branding her or something, you know? And so I'll never forget. So I didn't know if I was actually changing things, or at that time, changing things, or I was screwing her up for the rest of her life. And so, what does this have to do with your question?
Yeah, so what happened?
To me, does he have demons? Well, she got better. But by the time we got through the whole process, I'm like, where's Ari? And she's like, I'm right here, Daddy. And it was like, I was wet, she was wet. She's like, can I have an ice pop now? And I'm like, sure. And then she went and took a shower. And from that moment on, she has been coming to me and is like, Daddy, will you run my bars? And again, I texted Gary about this, and I'm like, what the hell was that? Was that her demons? Was that her mother's demons? He goes, it was your demons, her demons, and her mother's demons, and everybody else's for that matter. And so you got to look at that, and you have tools available to you to clear demons and clear all the oaths and vows. that you may bring to the table for him, his mother, his parents that he may be aware of? You don't really know. You have to just ask questions, and maybe he's biomedically mimicking everybody else's crap, and that's how he's channeling it. Or he can just be an asshole too, like Shannon said. But you got to be willing to speak the energy.
Have you tried clearing demons with him, Saskia?
I did. I was playing your recording.
Yeah, I mean, I just get he's an asshole. So that being said, the thing is, it's like, yes, the demon stuff is super relevant, and also like acting out other people's stuff is also super relevant, and that's all part of it. But you also can't excuse people's bad behavior because they're like aware. And that's where, like, especially if he's violent, and now I get he's a 3-year-old, so it's a really interesting sort of dynamic, but it's like, I know that like not you have to not pretend like he's like a perfect person because he's a child. There actually has to be the aware of like, okay, this person's choosing violence, now what?
Yeah. I will go with the asshole. This is what I didn't try yet, and I will be very firm as I am with the other things. So thank you. That's a good beginning. But for the rest, I have the recordings and the tools.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And how does it get better?
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and I mean, that's a huge question too. And a lot of you guys have really, really big questions, and that's why we have so many classes and access. You know, it takes a lot to deal with a lot of the stuff that goes on in our lives, but we've got all the tools.
And one thing you always say is practice. You know, to hear you say you have to practice these tools until you actually embody them, until they become part of you. It's practice. I practice these tools every day.
Cool. So it's like everywhere that you guys are doubting yourselves, and in so doing, like lessening or limiting the source of facilitation and transformation that you could be in the world, will you destroy and uncreate all of that, please?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pud, puck, shorts, boys, mans.
I do have another question. Kim's 14-year-old daughter, she's been doing things, mainly smoking weed every day and talking about committing suicide. She's been pulled out of school because the mom figured that was the best place to be, was at home with her. She's been to many access classes and knows the tools, and she's just super aware. Is it possible she's doing the drugs to access entities?
Well, drugs are fun, so there's that. And I don't know a teenager that doesn't want to try them, so there's that. And one of the tools that my dad gives for people who are threatening to commit suicide is you have to ask them how you can help them with that, rather than try to save them. A lot of people do suicide threats as a way of controlling people in their lives. However, then of course you have people like Anthony's wife who actually go through with it. However, Anthony, wasn't she a lot peaceful after she left her body?
Eventually, because I could feel the double-mindedness even when she left.
Yeah, but she needed to get out of her body, and then things started to change for her. So obviously, I mean, but when you have children who are threatening suicide, you have to look at, okay, are they controlling me with this?
Cool.
I mean, what if everybody who's threatening suicide is, I'm really awful because I also think that people that don't want to be here shouldn't be. And so that really changes the dynamic of life. It's like, why do we make staying here in a body so important when I've met so many entities that are just so much happier to not have bodies? And why is that wrong?
It's interesting you said, because it took me 3 years to actually thank her for leaving.
Right. And your situation, I mean, your story is so interesting, and you really went through some of the harder stuff. And I think it's such a great, such a great experience. Isn't everything better now?
It's way better. You know, it's way better. And I have to pot and pock myself everywhere. I feel a little bit guilty about it too, but I know that's why she created the space too, for us to have a better life.
So somebody's asking this question, so what if it's you who wants to commit suicide? That's actually a lot easier for me to talk to than you guys asking questions about other people. If it's you who wants to commit suicide, I mean, number one, like, who does it belong to? you know? Every humanoid wants to commit suicide. That's it. Every humanoid's like walking around like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So you really have to ask, like, who does it belong to? And if who does it belong to, but like really ask who does it belong to?
Yeah.
You know, don't just like flop the words out of your mouth. Like really look at this. Like, are you aware? Do you acknowledge that you're aware? Who does it belong to? And if who doesn't belong to, if it doesn't lighten up at all, you can ask if you have demons around, because demons do a lot of like, you should kill yourself. But this isn't, I hesitate to talk about demons because I don't want to create this like, now you guys have another source and force outside of you to blame your choices on. Because that's where we create a lot of problems in our lives, is by trying to blame why we choose what we choose or how we feel on people and entities outside of us, none of which is true. It's always our choice. And if you're not enjoying your life, I mean, why stay? Like the earth would not suffer from having 50% less people on the planet. And what if the world was what if the people who chose to stay embodied actually wanted bodies? And what if the people who didn't want to have bodies could leave freely? That being said, received. So what energy space and consciousness would you in your body, what energy space and consciousness could you and your body be to receive and perceive the gift of embodiment? Just eat ice cream. That's the gift of embodiment. So yeah, this is a really interesting topic. I feel like it's bringing out some pretty heavy duty questions, all of which I hope you guys understand, like we can't really address on this big free Zoom right now. Like this is why we want you guys to come to the big classes, because that's where we have the time, the energy, the space, and the resources to work with you through these things.
Exactly.
Okay.
Cool.
Now on that light note.
You guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. So everywhere that you guys are now tapped into everyone who's suicidal on the planet, will you guys please disconnect from all of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
So
wrong,
embody or not to embody. And I mean, the reason Anthony and I got together for this was, I mean, we thought it was so funny that I was going for a body class, and Anthony is actually like a doctor of bodies, a doctor of chiropractics, and I'm a doctor of entities, but we're like switching classes. We thought it was too funny. And it's also the most juxtaposition topics you have in Access, which is the body class and the entity class. One is devoted and dedicated completely to your body, and the other is dedicated completely to everything that exists without a body. Both of which are relevant. So now what's possible?
Totally. And I don't know about your body classes, but a lot of times when I ask the people who participate, when they're asking questions about things in their body, that let's say pains or whatever you want to call them, symptoms, and ask them who does it belong to, and just simply asking them a question, it's amazing how often it goes down to the entity conversation and their awareness of entities. And
does that happen for you a lot? That doesn't happen for me that much in my body.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, well, because I get a lot of times, at least a third of the class has entity awareness that they're not acknowledging.
Well, that's true.
You know, and then the symptoms change, the intensities in their bodies change.
Yeah.
Dynamically.
So when you try not to be aware, the thing with that is you can't actually make awareness go away. How many of you guys have tried to make awareness go away? Through drugs, through alcohol, through unconsciousness, through relationships, through however you tried to make awareness go away. And awareness can't go away. You can only sort of like divert it. And so when you have awareness trying to come through to you, and this is what Anthony's talking about with like the symptoms, and that's something that we talk about in Talk to the Entities, where what are your entity awareness symptoms? And because the awareness is always trying to get through to you, period. It's never going to stop trying to come back to you. It's like it's like energy's always trying to become whole again. Like I don't know if you guys know this, but like water is always trying to like restore its own balance. So like if you drink water that doesn't have enough minerals or vitality or energy, it'll literally start draining the minerals and stuff out of your body because the water is trying to become whole again. So water is always trying to find its balance. And also, and energy is also doing that. So when you're eliminating awareness, that awareness is always trying to come back together and become whole as an infinite being. And so if you are blocking the awareness of entities, it like distorts the awareness. And that's where stuff like schizophrenia and multiple personality disorder and back pain and headaches and whatever, like those are the symptoms that Anthony's talking about. So you have to look at what are your entity awareness symptoms? And if you recognize it was awareness, then it completely transforms the symptom and they basically go away. But then you actually have to start talking to entities. So it's a bit of a coin toss there. You're like, pain or talk to entities? Which do I prefer?
Totally.
So can I ask a question? Does the pain from the entity, like the pain that you're enduring, if it doesn't belong to you and it is from an entity, is this like something that they are purposely wanting you to feel, or you're just feeling it because they're trying to get your attention?
Do you want to speak to that, Anthony?
Well, it's, a lot of time, you can have awareness and have it be easy. And that's what we're trying to get everybody to. So it's sort of like where you're not acknowledging your awareness. Your body's giving you information all the time about the environment around you. So, and again, the intensities may not belong, be entities. It could also be a person with a body that you're aware of, or, it could be the earth requiring a contribution from you. That's why you always have to ask a question to your body, like, body, what is this? Who does this actually belong to? Mine, someone else's, or something else? And then you just go from there. What I see a lot of people do, especially after taking Talk to the Entity, conclude that every time they have neck pain, it's always entities, because maybe the first 7 times it was entities and then they made it go away. So they assume the 8th time that it shows up, it's entities again. No, that's not true. You always have to ask. Always just ask questions and use the tools.
And what Anthony and I are talking about isn't when entities are actually malevolent, where we're actually talking about what we do to create the pain through blocking out awareness of entities.
Yeah.
So, and what your question was about, if you actually have an entity that is trying to do harm, that's what you were saying, yes? Did I understand your question?
Yes, yeah.
So what was it? What was the question? What was the question?
Well, it wasn't really, yeah, it was a question. Just if you're feeling pain, and I guess what I just got out of that is I have to ask more questions.
Cool. The thing too that you have to understand is in Access, we basically talk about that there is no such thing as pain. Pain is awareness. We just misidentify it and mislabel it, and in so doing lose the ability to transform energy. It's actually not pain you're talking about. You're talking about awareness, and that's what everything in Access is designed to do, is to assist you in having ease with being aware, as Anthony said.
Then I best acknowledge how aware I truly am.
Oh, you both, sister. Every day like a new level of like, whoa, this is wow.
For real. You guys, thank you so much. I'm going to have to jump off of here. I've truly enjoyed it. So thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much. And Shannon, thank you so much for coming on and playing and doing this with me. I'm very, very grateful. And, yeah, so she's got these amazing body classes all over the world, entity classes all over the world with amazing facilitators. Please, please, please go and jump in on these classes. And
thank you, Anthony. And I mean, just so that you guys recognize, like, Anthony and I are just 2 of many Access facilitators. And really, I mean, I mostly just want everybody to do as much Access as possible, period. So I don't give a shit who you do it with. I just care that you get yourself there and you use the tools. Because it's like when the megatons of heaviness that get lifted off of somebody's shoulders when they recognize that they're aware, like if just more people could have that in the world, that makes the whole universe a lighter, brighter, easier place. And we've got the super tools. We've got the tools that every humanoid needs to be great. So
awesome.
If you dare.
All right, thanks everyone, and hope to see you in person someday.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello.